Okay, we're on here.
I did 10 days. There's my friend, here's the head of the ancient road and also indigenous and climate and forestry stuff and
Okay. So I'm not sure who else is coming because a lot of people didn't RSVP about the class, and some people who did. I mean, there's various medical things going on.
I should say the healing book or something.
Yes, yes, I was thinking that I should do that.
Sure. We should practice something.
So let's begin with the Blessing for Torah study. And yeah, I think that in order to honor the two students who are not here tonight because they are tending to family members who are ill, I thought what we would do is just take a moment to make some kind of healing prayer.
Each individual.
Yeah, I was thinking that each make our own prayer. So, Hadassah and Nicole, we are with you. Okay, so we'll start by reviewing the groups. So, any that you remember, Terry, jump right in. And you know, you've laid, and you've laid enough times that I think even the ones that you weren't here in class for them, they'll sound familiar enough you may be able to jump in. So we're just going to we'll just start at the beginning. We'll go through all of the ones we've learned so far, and then we'll go back and practice with some verses. Mercha tibcha, mercha sof pasuk. Mercha tibcha, sof pasuk. Tibcha, mercha sof pasuk. Tibcha, sof pasuk. At Nafta group. Mercha tibcha munach et nachta. Is this an okay key? Nachta goes down to the C, so okay. Mercha tibcha et nachta. Tibcha munach Nachta, Ticha, et Nachta. And the very big and varied is that cape group. So if you've got Mercha, then it's going to begin Kadma, Mapa, Pashta, Muna, Kato, Kadma, Mapa, Pashta, Kato. Mercha Pashta Munach Katon. I always have to review that one because it's so rare, that configuration that doesn't just come like the others. Pashta Katon Munach Mapach Munach Katon Mapach Pashta Munach Katon Munach Katon Yeti Munach Katon Yeti Katon Zakev Gadol.
So pretty.
Yeah. And the Rebbe group?
It's hard to find the beginning. You just have to think to the beginning. But I guess when you're chanting, you know the middle, you know where the note is because it's a big long line. Because when we're doing it like this, that's the hardest part to me is the final starting that. Like
Right. And the way I do that when I'm learning a piece of Torah is by looking at when one group switches to another. If it doesn't just like pop into my mind, what I'll do is I'll look on the sheet and see, okay, where does that trope end?
Okay,
and where does the next one begin? Do I have to step up? Do I have to step down? Or do I have to stay on the same note?
Yeah, like this one just ended, the Gadol was ended on a G. So
right.
Yeah, so
we're on the same note. Munach Revi'ah. Now that one's a Munach Legarme. Let's start together on that one. It's okay, it's my fault. Munach Legarme, Munach Revi'ah, Darkah, Munach Revi'ah. Kadma v'azla Munach Sakeresh.
Geresh, is that the only way we'll see Geresh with the Munach before it?
Yes. If it has a Munach before it, it's a Geresh. If it does not have a, let's see, or is it the other way around? If it has a Kadma before it, it's an Azla. And if it doesn't have a Kadma before it, it's a Geresh. So if it doesn't have a Munach and it doesn't have a Kadma, I believe it's a Geresh. I could look that up and confirm that for you. They're so similar.
I just didn't know what the,
But I believe that it's the Kadma that defines the Asla.
Okay.
And the Munach is, as usual, sometimes there and sometimes not.
Okay.
Munach is like probably the most servant of all servant tropes. It appears many times in many countries, however it's needed. Munach Geresh. Munach. You see, that's the thing about Munach, is you have to figure out which Munach it is.
I know.
And this one's the Munach Gershayim.
It's something I knew that why the Munach is this invisible Munach thing.
Oh, I'm sorry, because
okay.
it's on the music side. I forgot to write it on the. And while you're making corrections on your sheet, it should be Gershayim rather than Gershayim.
Gershayim.
Yeah. Gershayim.
Okay.
And just so you know, I mean, there's lots of slop, you know, in trope for the Baal Korea to take liberties. Gershayim is sometimes written as Gershayim and sometimes as Gershayim, so either is correct. And then if there's a mercha with this group at all, it's just going to be mercha, just like that. It's, again, it's rare, but if it shows up in a revi group, it says mercha, and it does happen.
But so remembering it, I could write it. Just thank you. Okay.
Darga Tavir, and then the mercha that goes with the Tavir is the skeleton of the darga. It's the darga without the extra notes.
Yeah.
And another way to remember it.
See, because if you look on here, see,
it's the.
And here they threw in these extra notes.
It just doesn't have the.
Oh, I got
it's missing the B minor A.
Okay, got it. B flat A, yeah.
Yes, B flat A. Thank you. Good to have a musician.
It's kind of crazy. It's kind of funny because I was in El Salvador talking Spanish for 10 days. I got back and I'm talking Hebrew. And a lot of times I was there and I was talking to people, the Hebrew, because I've been doing my Hebrew class and the Hebrew. I was like trying to talk to people in the market and these words came.
Oops, wrong language.
So this is good. It's funny. So now I got it.
Good.
Okay.
Mercha Tavir. Munach Darga Tavir. Munach Mercha Tavir. I see there's a typo there. It's not marcha, it's mercha. I hadn't noticed before. Kadma Darga Tavir. Okay, pretty comfortable? Okay, so that's as far as we've gotten. So now what I'd like to do is go back, and open your Chumash. Yeah, there should be Chumash in the library. Grab a Chumash, or we'll go with Marnie. Since we are in the week of Parsha Bahar, open to Parsha Bahar. And while Jerry's looking for a Chumash, why don't you just pick out any pasuk group. Right, it's the one that's at the end of every verse. So pick any sofa soup group.
Okay.
25
Yeah.
verse 1 will work just fine.
C9.
C9, correct?
Any more?
Good.
Okay. Is that how much just the 5 books?
The easier way to do it is to say the words like you just did, but then before you put the ta'amim to the words, before you put the notes to the words, do the ta'amim without the words. So just go right, and now do it with the words that you just said. Perfect. You got it. Okay. Jerry, you take verse 2. We're in the book Vayikra, chapter 25. And I'll open it to while you're doing that. And just find the sofa soup group, which is the easiest one to find.
So this one here.
Yeah, well, that's an at Nafta.
No, that'll be this, yeah, so it's.
So that sofa soup would probably just be these two right here.
Okay.
Right, it's a two group.
So I'm going to start by singing here.
Right.
Tita mircha sopasu.
There's no mircha, is there?
No, there's not. It's just two.
Oh. This one. Oh yeah. Tita sopasu.
That's it.
Shabbat.
Perfect. Yes, exactly.
It takes so much like steps.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And then at a certain point it doesn't maybe.
Exactly. At a certain point it doesn't anymore. I mean, but the reason that you want to do it this way is because it's really important to learn the names of the Talmud and what they sound like.
And then you
because that way, when you're standing at the Torah and you're looking at it and you're going, oh, which trope group was that ani? Because the word ani shows up so many times in my reading. Which trope group is it? You could just look at the gabbai, and if you have an understanding of look, maybe all you need to do, or you can just say trope or tongue.
And what would they
somebody
say?
can say,
Oh.
and that will get you started again. And if you don't know the names, then the gabbai will have to sing it for you. You take off from there. But the least obtrusive way to get cued is if you know the names of the Talmud and the sounds that go with them.
So this is good. I've been doing it long enough to get it. So we do everything we just did, and we try to learn the names and.
Yeah, so that's why when you practice it with the names. Yeah.
And then you can go like this, like you do in school.
Yeah.
I know.
Right.
And then you can go like this if you read music, and go like this.
Yeah. I can know to do that, yes.
And then you get into here.
Yeah, right. So now we're practicing from here. Do you want to do more sofa soup or jump into et nafta?
I think enough. That's good.
Yeah. Okay, so et nafta, there will be an et nafta group in most verses. Of course, verse 1 does not have an et nafta group.
And you've got
One. Wait,
Yeah, you saw one, right?
Wait, what is? I'm not sure what.
Oh, I see it.
Sentence.
I see it. There is none in the first verse, but in the second verse there is an et nafta group.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay, so Marnie, why don't you go ahead and so that's it. It's the full group. It's just 2 syllables, so just 2 notes. That's it. Good. Yeah. Good. Very good. Okay. Jerry, you want to see if you can find one in verse 3?
Yeah, I see one that's,
Uh-huh. Oh, and this one's a full group too. Good.
Actually, yeah, I see it. Okay, Visheshani.
Mhm,
Okay,
mhm.
let's see. So
Do the Ta'amim first. Let me just correct the name
Yes,
of the
please.
second one. It's Tibcha. I think it's probably the same root that you were saying, but the accent is going to be good. Good,
Is that? But why is that?
because that's where the Ta'amim.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Got
So
it.
the Ta'amim, besides telling you the tune you're going to sing, they also tell you how every word is accented, and they tell you your punctuation. So a sof pasuk is a period.
Cool.
Think of an etnachta as a semicolon. Okay,
You can remember that
excellent.
because what et means and, so it's like et is and, so it's like, or vit is and, et is. Okay, got it. Okay, so now, next.
Okay, so the Zakeh group. So let's do a few different ones, since this is such a varied group.
Yeah.
Mostly it's Zakeh Katon, but okay. Well, there's one right at the beginning, the chapter 25, verse 1. Marnie, do you see it? And it's a very common configuration of the Zakeh Katon group.
It looks like Ashton. Like wait, what's the first?
What's the first one called?
Oh,
You can cheat. You can. You can look at your sheet. I still refer to the sheets when I need to.
I'm trying to remember.
This is not a closed book test. Right. So it's Mapach Pashta Katan.
The one that starts with the Yiddish, the one under the Okay.
That's it. Good. And one of the most common phrases you will find in the later books of the Torah.
Wait, where's it on here? Which one is it? But on here, but
It's actually, this particular configuration isn't on here.
Okay, that's, I looked through 10.
I know, it's the most common one and it's not on here.
Okay.
My bad, someday I'll redo it. But it's
That's it.
basically, it's this.
But it has this one,
Yeah. Oh, right, okay, so it's,
this,
it's
this,
that.
and then this.
There it is, it's that.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Was that one? Okay, got it. Sorry.
Okay.
By the way, I don't know.
Perfect.
Perfect.
That's it. You got it. Okay, let's see if we can find, well, let's see the second verse, the second group is a Keton group.
Let's see. Is that sort of a marcha?
It also starts with a mapach.
Okay. Let's see.
So the first word is a ger shayim, and then starts your Keton group.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait, the Gershaim, that is now.
It's not in this group, so don't worry about it yet.
Okay, but I see the,
Let's
but is
see.
the Amarta has a, not, right, is that,
Yeah, so that'll be your second.
oh, okay. I'm seeing
Yeah, so it's,
this one.
it is this one.
This one. This one. This one. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it from this? Okay.
Yeah,
It says
it
such
has
a
all
Benet.
four of those,
Okay,
yeah.
such Benet. Okay. Okay. Ma pashta katon.
Good.
Okay. Now Benet.
Albany.
Oh, okay.
That's a hyphenated word.
Okay, so the whole is one word.
Yeah.
Benet. Israel. Israel.
No, you had it the first.
Okay.
If the kadma and the pashta are identical in appearance. If it is before a mapach, it's a kadma. If it is not before a mapach, it's a pashta.
You don't have to give me any right now. Could you write that down? If it's that's out there. I have to remember what those are now, what they look like. Okay. There we go. Thank you. Thank you. Is this why people sit in Shiva 8 hours a day? Year after year after year. About the karma and the pashta. And then somebody says, God is really army. I'm like, no, I'm still studying. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so I'm back on the Albany. So
Yeah, Albany.
okay. Albany. Physics.
Yeah, that's the
Okay. So we did it again. Ma pa pasta na katon.
And I'm going to give you just a tiny bit of fine tuning. It's
Yes,
fine
please.
the way you do
I know
it.
what I want.
But the absolute correct,
Yes, what I want.
I know you do. So you stay on the same note when you start your second munach that you end the pashta on.
Okay.
So that is a general rule in this trope system. Within a group, most of the ta'amim start on the note that the last one ended on. It gives it a flow.
Oh, wow. Ma pa pasta na katon.
See, did you hear that? How that kind of retains a
Yeah.
fluidity?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then it's more significant if some of the ta'amim aren't in the group, because then there's a little bit more disjointedness,
Yeah.
and it's meaningful.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay. Okay. Albany, Israel, Mar,
Where's the accent?
Mata, because it has two things in the same.
Oh,
Israel.
okay. So the thing that looks like a sof pasuk
It's
isn't.
not.
It's a meteg.
Yeah, Amata. Okay.
So for the purposes of the trope,
Yeah.
ignore metegs.
Okay.
In some trope systems you do them, but in this trope system you ignore them.
Israel, Amata,
Look at the vowels. Look at the vowels. That's it. Good.
Oh.
Good.
You have to almost do these 10 times.
You do.
I mean, then when you get the actual how it gets sung,
You know,
over and over and over again.
when I'm making a recording, whether it's for myself or someone else, I do it a few times first, then I make the recording, and then I listen to it looking at the thing, and most of the time I've made at least one mistake and I have to do it again.
But in the,
And it's something like that, if I'm using the wrong vowel,
right, but then,
accenting the wrong syllable.
There's so much to hold together.
Yeah, and that's why the recordings are really helpful, and if you're somebody who does it all the time, when we become true Ba'alei Kriya, we won't need to do that. But that's way down the road. We're newbies, so.
well, it's almost like one way to learn, not that I've done this before, but like, let's say we're doing whatever etnachtah.
Mhm.
Somebody figured out 10 etnachtah phrases. They xerox them on a page.
Well, that's what I've asked people to do, not to
Oh.
Xerox them, but to just use your Chumash. You know,
Right.
pick them out in your Chumash.
You're not to do this. You're not to do xerox a Hebrew text.
Yeah. If you Xerox a Hebrew text
Can't do
and it has God's name in it, you can't throw it away. But there's no prohibition to Xerox.
Okay. Because seems like to get, like, by the time I figured out, because I haven't studied enough or studied, it seems like the way you have to do it is then you get this phrase, like the one I just did.
Yeah.
Then you do it like over and over to show you get the trope to go with new words. And then you do another one with the trope with new words.
That's
with
right.
the same.
That's exactly how I do it with the kids.
Oh.
You know, one phrase at a time. You know, we'll go through their whole little reading, the, 5 or 6 verses that they're going to be doing. Pick out all the sopasuks. And
Well, that's nice.
Is that the yellow? Those are the yellow.
yeah, whatever
the
color they choose. And the color coding was Naomi said.
I love them because
Yeah,
you
it's
kind of
lovely.
switch it.
It's lovely.
So they go through and they do all the yellows and they have it in their brain.
Yes,
And they do all the
exactly.
pinks out in their brain.
Exactly.
Ah.
Exactly. Yeah. And once they've got them all, then you start putting them together.
Is that the most confusing time when you switch it? But they do.
For some people, yes. For some people, no. Some kids just come in and they started doing it. And like one of the adult students, Judy, just does it. But she's also learned more. So.
Okay, I got it.
Okay. So you got that one. And let's see if we can find, it's a little harder to find ET, so I don't want to use a whole bunch of time. I'll just see if I can scan this partially. The way, there's one. Okay. So it's verse 10. Well into the verse, almost to the end of the verse. And it's on the word ish. And you can tell it's a yutiv and not a mapach because it precedes the word.
Oh, I see it.
If it was a mapach, the Vishavtem is the end of the previous group. Yutiv is always at the beginning of a group. It's always on a single or 2 syllable word. And it's a punch. Like in some trope systems, you don't even sing it, you say it.
Oh.
So here we have, it's a Yativ Katon. Who wants to try it?
So after the T, there's no other.
No, just straight to the Katon. There's no munaf.
Is there a Katon?
You don't see the Katon?
Oh yeah, it's on the top. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so how that goes is. Okay. Yativ.
Yativ. It's really high.
Yativ.
It's more like Yativ.
Oh, because accents is on the second.
And because it's almost always on a single syllable word, the way it usually sounds is da 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 da.
So how would you sing each then?
Each.
Oh, the accent's on the.
And it's just a little jab.
Each.
And it's a very accented word when it comes in the middle of a reading, you notice that word. Because it goes way high.
Each. L. 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 I don't know. Let's see. Okay. So since katon is the highest note, the one that is where the tongue is, like chazator.
It's not always the highest, but it often is.
Okay, so
in Katon it is the highest one. Yeah.
Okay.
It goes up on the accent. That's right. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. Each. El achuzato.
Let's listen to it.
Yeah.
Sure now. Is it with you?
Sure.
Ish, el-achuzato,
Okay, don't forget the L.
el-achuzato, el-achuzato.
And again, because you don't have the munach to step you down to that
Yeah.
ketone, you have to make that third jump yourself down from the C that the T ends on to the A that the ketone starts on. That's it. Try it again. Good. You want to try it, Jerry? Stay high. Yeah, just a single note. Good. That's it.
You know, I've never sung, so piano just plunk it down. You don't have to think about
Yeah,
intervals. It's so easier. So here when you go, eesh, and then you have to search in your mind for the next note.
Right. You know, you're allowed to use your piano.
To learn it.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes with the kids, when they're learning the trope, if they play an instrument, I say play the tamim on your violin, on your flute, on your whatever you're studying. So sure, use your. And if I'm learning, like, I mean, I used to do it when I was learning this trope system, and now if I'm learning another trope system, I'll use a keyboard because I can't sight read music.
I just have to say, I just got out of surgery just this minute and doesn't have the halo on anymore. So that has got to mean that it's successful or successful enough to remove the halo. Good news. Let's hope I'm able to, etc. Whoa. Oh. Whoa. She's been sounding great all along. She's been sounding great. I saw her yesterday. I just saw her when she left.
Reminding you on live stream.
We're spreading good news. Good news. It's always good news. Good news. Someone out of surgery. Very good news.
Very good.
And she was, in shock, just doing what she had to do. So here we go. Yeah. Not gonna pull back.
And I spoke to my friend for a moment. Yes, I spoke to my friend Pope earlier, who's going to go up to Santa Rosa with a wonderful cigarette.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. That is great.
So I'll take a kiss
Because it's good news.
Oh, it's good news.
Yeah.
Alternative was too important to think about that.
Yeah. All right, let's see if we can find a Zakev Gadol.
Is that common?
There's one.
Oh.
This in verse 13. After the initial group is an Etnopta group, and then there is a Zakev Gadol. Chapter 95, verse 13. Okay, you see it?
Yeah.
And what word is it on? Okay, and what syllable is accented? Correct. That's it. You've got it. Go ahead. Perfect. You got it. You want to try it, Jerry?
Do you do the beginning of it?
You do the beginning. Well, there's no one off.
Oh, that's the
No,
not
no.
okay. So you go right on the
Right to the Zakev Gadol. That's it. And you'll put the vu, the last syllable, on the last note. Perfect. You got it.
You have to know where to change. Okay.
Right. So generally, you know, if it's a word that's accented on the second syllable or on the next to last syllable rather than the last, which is the most common, you'll just save a note for, if it's a long trope, you'll save a note for the last syllable. If it's a trope that only has 2 or 3 notes in it, you may just, you know, hold the note. Like if it's an etnachta, I'm not doing the etnachta now, it's the 5th.
Right, I'm sure you're saying the last, yeah,
Anyway,
I got it. I got this
yeah,
good
they'll-
example of that.
there'll be examples of it. I'm not going to confuse you. All right, let's go on to the Rebbe group. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning of the Parsha, just to make it easier to find things. So go back to the beginning of the Parsha, and let's see if we can find a Rebbe, which is also called Rebbeah. There, it's the same. Let's see. Oh, there's one.
I found this
Oh,
one.
did you find one? Okay.
Well, the diamond almost looks like a little dot, but
That's
on
right.
verse 4, is that one? The Shana, the street, is that one? Is that a diamond?
It is. Good
Because it almost
job.
looks like a dot.
Yeah, good job.
Okay,
Yes.
so I'm going to try that's the first one. It's
Okay.
enough.
Right.
So I'm going to sing it.
Yes. Reviah, by the way, means waterfall or overflow of water. And so think of that when you're doing that drill. Yeah. Yeah, good. Very good. Marty, did you find another one? Good. Yes, I see it. Right at the beginning, yes.
This one?
Yes, this one.
Okay, this one? 8.
Yeah. That's it. That's it. Try to sing a little bit louder for the benefit of the people watching the live stream. So what?
Okay, let me just have it out first.
Okay. Yes. Perfect. And then there's a UT.
What after it?
A UT.
Sheba.
Sheba. Yeah. Yeah, right. It's a song.
The accents at the end.
That's right. Don't go up on the far. Stay. Good. Good. Sounds so pretty. Uh-huh. Oh, this one has the munach too. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's it. Good. All right. I really put you on the spot. You did it. Okay. So let's see if by any chance we can find the Munaf Lagarde. They're a little less common. And you know that it's a Munaf Lagarde and not just two Munafs because it'll have one of those lines. I forget what they're called.
Does it come under the word?
It's between the words. It's between the words. So I don't want to take up a whole lot of class time. There's one. Okay. It is verse, still in chapter 25, and it is verse 16. You see it? It's at the beginning of the verse.
First it has.
Oh, right.
It's
there
the
it is.
second group. It's the one with the Munaf Lagarde.
I see it. Very beginning of 16.
This one. Yeah. So let's do the group together.
Wait, what word? So I don't see what this. Let me put this line.
The line tells you it's Munaf Lagarde
Okay. But,
and not just two Munafs. Because otherwise, if there was no line, you would just do two Munafs. You would just do.
Oh, I see. Okay.
This way.
Oh,
You
so it
don't-
starts with the fee.
Yes.
Oh, that's the line. Okay. Let's see. Okay.
So this like that's all. This two syllables.
Two syllables, right?
The fee.
That's right. Good. Excellent. Fine tuning is because Rove is only a single syllable. You drop the first note of the Munaf.
Ah.
So it's
Okay. Is that no?
Yeah.
No.
right. Exactly. The fee, Rove. So you have to make the jump. That's it. Good. Very good. Barney, do you want to try it rather than searching for it? That's a good idea. It's easier for us. I want to get to some new groups. Perfect. Good. Okay. So I'm not going to take the time right now to look for the other groups because the other groups are much less common. So when I'm looking for, well, actually, that's not true. We could easily find a Kadma Asla. Those are not uncommon. Of course, when I'm actually looking for one, then they're up. Oh, let me point something else out to you. Reminder to you, Marnie, and maybe new to you, Jerry. Look at verse 19, and it's the Zakef Keton group, and you'll notice that the hashta is doubled on the word. So it's verse 19. V'natna haaretz pirya. So notice that the pashta on the haaretz is doubled. Okay, so that is common. There's certain ta'amim that when they are on a word that's accented on the next to last syllable, the ta'am is doubled, and you ignore the second one.
So haaretz.
Right. So you pronounce it haaretz, like you know to pronounce haaretz, or whatever the word is, and you ignore the second pashta. And we'll run into that again with some other ta'amim as well. So I just wanted to point that out as we're glancing through, looking for. This is disgusting. Not that I'm looking for it.
Which one are we looking for now?
We're looking for a Kadma Asla or a Garish. But I'm not looking for them. They're all over the place. Okay, found one. All right. It is verse 30. And it's a little more than halfway, closer to the end. And I'm just going to tell you the words because these look like so many other things. It's actually not quite halfway, I take it back. And it's Habayit Asher Ba'ir. And that is a Kadma Asla. So, to remind you what that sounds like. Kadma Asla. And you know, keep going, both of you. Yes, good. Okay, let's do it again. Good.
There's a lot of pretty squiggly line right above it. Right?
We're going to learn that next.
So pretty.
Yes, that's the next group we're going to learn. Okay.
Can you see it? No, right here. Look, that's the word long. Can you see it? Oh, yeah. And this one.
Okay, and here's a Gershayim.
Who's that?
In it's got a munach. It's verse 33. Again, it's a little past the middle of the verse.
Oh, I see, but T.
Yeah, but there's
Ki,
and there's a munach before it.
yeah, Ki, but T.
That's it, bate.
Oh, but T. So we'll see though.
Okay, so munach Gershayim is munach. Yeah, that's it. Munach Gershayim. And again, because ki is a single syllable, you'll drop the first note of the munach and just go na. That's it. That's it. Good. Do it again. Excellent. That was perfect, both of you.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. So do you feel like you kind of have a little bit of a feeling of these groups?
Yes.
Ready to, oh no, there's one more group, right? The one that we did last time, Tavir. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning of the parsha. Again, just easier. And we're looking for a darga Tavir, a mercha Tavir, anything with a Tavir. Sometimes you will see Tavir by itself, by the way. And it's easy to confuse a Tavir with, on a word that's got a chirik and a tipcha.
Exactly, of course, yeah.
But they do look just slightly different. So you'll get used to that difference. But at first that may catch your eye when you're looking for a Tavir. It's, most of the time when you're preparing to learn Torah, you're not going to be looking for a Tavir.
Exactly.
Right. So
Right, so
this is an unusual circumstance.
the vowel makes a sound.
Okay, there's a Tavir and it's by itself on verse 11. We're back in chapter 25, or maybe we've never got chapter 25. Verse 11, it's the third word in. Not at all.
Oh, Shannon. Is that what that is?
Shanat.
So, whoa, it's hard to see.
Thank you.
Why it's hard to see is because in this book, like, the ink is connected, so the dot.
Yeah, that that Chumash
Yeah.
does not have the clearest.
Do you want to use this?
font.
Okay. Because I can see the difference in the, I don't know if it's smaller or it's more.
It's smaller and it's also more clear.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so Tavir, again, dissonance by itself, so it'll just go Tavir.
I forgot this one.
Tavir.
Oh, there it is.
Tavir.
Okay. Where is it? I lost the word again.
That's the third word in verse 11.
Should not.
Mhm.
Oh. Not.
That's right. Good. Good, good. Glancing through, see if I can.
Darga looks like a backwards Zorro.
Yeah, yeah. Or a sharp S.
Yeah.
There's another Tavir by itself, but not in the word. See if I can work on find the Tavir with the Darga or. And again, you know, when I'm not looking for it, they're all over the place. There's a Darga Tavir. Okay. Verse 23. And it's just a little past the middle of the verse. It's after the Etnachta group. Do you see the words?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so just read the words without the trope.
Okay. Gary.
There's a word before, it's a hyphenated word.
Sorry. He.
Mm-hmm.
He Gary.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Okay. And then the trope. The, perfect. Great. You rock. Great. Yeah, okay. That sounds wonderful.
Carolyn, so when you're using the Torah, since I'm finally learning trope,
Yeah.
the vowels aren't there, but the trope's not there either.
No.
I mean, I already knew the vowels weren't there,
Yeah,
but
no,
I
the
would have
trope's not
ignored
there.
the trope since I wouldn't have known them anyway. So
Right.
they're not there.
They're
So
not there. So
how do you do this? So
just like you've been doing it is how you do it. The main difference is going to be you won't need me to make a recording for you. You'll be able to figure it out
The
for
first
yourself. Or, you know, after a while. I mean, I'll keep making recordings as long as you need them. But, you know, after a while, you won't need that.
So you'll know, you'll see 4 words, and your brain will know those 4 words
Go
are
together.
enough thought, whatever.
Exactly. And after a while, the more you do it, the more it just makes sense. It just starts clicking into place.
It makes sense that which words have which.
Right. It's
combination.
the what fires together wires together principle. You know, the more times you do it, the more it just starts to sound normal.
Are you saying like you can get it out and roll it, and you can look at a verse and know what trope it is?
No. No.
Oh. Okay.
I'm saying that when you learn it, because remember in the first class I said one of the purposes of trope is it's a memorization device. It's a way to memorize what you're going to read
Oh, I see.
from the Torah. It's much easier to learn Torah, to read from the Torah. If you're not a Hebrew reader, it's easier to read from the Torah singing
Ah,
than not singing.
interesting.
I noticed that Maya taught me that once. We were trying to
Yeah.
sound something out. She said,
Yeah.
sing it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I mean, I can cold read faster with the trope than
Really?
cold reading without the trope because it just makes it make sense.
Ah. So when you sing in the melody, the words just fit into it.
Right, right. Okay, so the next group we're going to learn is the Segol group. This is a lovely group. And, you know, now we're getting into the less common groups. And the Segol group, the main part of the Segol group is that first configuration of it. We're on page 4 for anybody who's watching the live stream or the YouTube. Halfway down page 4. So the Segol group is, the main components of it are the Munach, Zarka, Munach, Segol. And once again, like in the Ketone group, you've got 2 Munachs sung differently. Very differently. And so Zarka is a little bit like a rare tipcha. You know, it's kind of it's called a disjunctive. You pause, you know, when you get to it. It's not as big a pause as the Segol, which is, you know, also a disjunctive. And Zarka is also considered a master trope in that it doesn't change. But it always serves Segol. So I don't know why they call it a master trope. I don't quite follow that piece yet. So the Munachs are the servants. And as you see in some of the configurations, you throw in a Kadma. You know, I'm thinking about the way I told you to know a Kadma from a Pashta, and it might be better to think of it the opposite way. And that is, if it follows, no, never mind, that doesn't work either, because a Pashta can also not have a Munach before it. Okay, don't change it.
Okay.
Don't change it. It's only a Pashta if it's in the Ketone group. None of the things that look like Pashta in any of the other groups are Pashta. They're all Kadmas. Okay, so this one of the things that's very tricky about starting this group, or particularly starting the Munach, is it is the only group that starts on, depending on what key you're singing in, the equivalent of B flat. So it is just beautiful. And it goes, Munach, Zarka, Munach, Segol.
We sing that chorus.
I love this group. Munach, Zarka, Munach, Segol. And I'm noticing as I'm doing it that I go up. I was taught to go up on the Zarka, and that's not on the music.
You sing it right.
So I was just noticing that, and so I don't know if I was taught wrong, and it's just so ingrained in me to do it that way, or if it's a variation. I'll do some looking up of that, but that is how I do it.
Who taught you?
Rabbi Naomi.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it together.
Okay, ready? Munach, Zarka. Let me erase that. Let's try it. I'm going to try to do it the way it's written. Munach, Zarka, Munach, Segol. So that's how it's written. Let's do it together without the recording until I get it, and then we can record it. Munach, Zarka, Munach, Segol. And what I'm going to tell you about that is I want to teach you to do it the right way. But if you do a variation on it, i.e. like the variation that I was taught, it's fine. Like you'll know, if you come to, it's Zach's bar mitzvah coming up. He's got this group, and he has totally reworked the Zarka for himself. And it's lovely, and it works. You know, and he just couldn't get it out of his head to relearn it the right way. So I just went, you know what? It's really good the way it is. It's the way he's doing it. So when you come to Zach's bar mitzvah, you will hear a lovely variation. And that's part of the beauty of trope as well. Okay. So we're going to try to do it the way it's written, and then you can choose to vary it. Munach, Zarka, Munach, Segol. And the one thing I should also say, especially to you, Jerry, as a musician, is don't pay attention to the timing of this notation, because it can't be written, because it's too variable. How people do it, the timing is really variable by the Baal Korea. And so this just gives you a sense of the relative times, like where to speed up and where to hold it and so forth. But the actual timing, that's why there's no measure bars. No, you know. Okay, I think we're ready to record it. Munach zarka munach segol. Okay. And then the next variation is without the munach. Zarka munach segol. Now, in this group, the kadma, which I have never found an example of in all of my readings, and in doing a search for tonight, I could not find an example of this, but because it's in the book, I'm going to teach it to you. Okay. But I've yet to find it. Okay. But the kadma is different. Instead of being kadma, it goes up to the B flat. Kadma. No, let's see. I had it last night.
You have a piano?
Yes, yes, and I was actually thinking that I would do that. Go ahead and do the.
F, B flat.
Of course, we're probably singing in a different
Well, it
key.
starts with like this. I'll go back.
Sorry, Maya, or anybody else has questions. No, stand it up. Sorry, there we
I have to aim it.
go. Okay.
So it's stuck down. Sorry about that.
There we go.
That's pretty. That's a pretty one.
Yeah. So, kadma. Let's see, where does it go to? Kadma munach zarka segol. So we were actually keyed a little bit higher, pitched a little bit higher, which is fine. That's again another thing that's completely variable. Is you do it in whatever your voice is. Kadma munach, yeah. Kadma munach zarka segol. I'll try. Kadma munach. No, delete it. It's wrong. Okay. Kadma. That's it. Okay, ready. Kadma munach zarka segol. Okay, and again, I've never had it, but you're ready for it when it shows up in your reading. Okay, and then there's pretty commonly there's just zarka, segol. Zarka segol. And oh, you know what? I did find one of those. It's this next one I didn't find any of. Don't record yet. Kadma mecha zarka, something like that. Okay, so let me try it a few times until it sounds right. And any of you can help me read music. Kadma Mercha Zarka Segol. Okay, so almost ready to record. Let me just get the Kadma and then we can record. Kadma. Okay, ready? Kadma Mercha Zarka Segol. Okay, so that's the Segol group. So,
Okay.
so now we're going to do some verses. Actually, let's practice this Segol group together.
Let's do it
I don't
together.
think we've done that enough yet. Okay. So what I'm going to suggest, no, let's just go through it. Let's just struggle through it with the Kadmas and all. Okay. Muna Zarka Muna Segol. So that's your basic group. And that sounds pretty good. Is that comfortable? Or do you want to do it again? Okay. Muna Zarka Muna Segol. Good. Okay. Zarka Muna Segol. Again. Zarka Muna Segol. Okay. Comfortable? Okay. Kadma Muna Zarka Segol. Kadma Muna Zarka Segol. That's pretty good. I think we've got it. Okay, ready for the next one? Zarka Segol. Pretty straightforward. Ready to try the next one? Kadma Mercha Zarka Segol. And that's the one I can't find anywhere. That's the one I can't find anywhere. I mean, even like looking in the trope books, there's no reference to it. So why it's in there, I don't know. But it's in there. So it's on the sheet. Okay, so now.
This is what I'm confused about.
Okay, what are you confused about?
Okay, how come we, and you might have already explained this, how come Munach has so many ways you pronounce it? Like up here it's Munach, and
Okay.
it's Munach, and here's Munach. That's
Yep,
3 different
yep.
ways.
Yes, and there's many. Munach is the quintessential servant trope.
Okay, that's what you
It
mean by
changes
Okay.
its stripes.
within the context.
Yes,
Okay, I got
yes, it will do whatever you want it to do.
it. Okay. So you just have to learn it in the context.
Right.
Okay, I get that.
And Mercha is the next most quintessential of the servant tropes in terms of how many different ones
Oh, I
there
see.
are.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, I got that.
The other servant tropes, some of them never change at all. Pashta is always Pashta. Mapach is always Mapach. And until I started working on the Segol group more to get ready to teach the class, I would have said Kadma never changes. But here it is in a different form, so not true. Okay. And it's the master trope that never changes. And there are some servant tropes that don't change either, like Tifcha, etc.
All right.
Okay, so open your Chumash to chapter 25. And no, I've actually got, I prepared these ones. So go to 25 verse 30. We were there before for another example, and you were saying, look at all those nice squiggles.
I do see.
Yes.
That thing is admirable.
Yes, perfect. And so this is an example of that first group.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Right.
You see it? Below.
So let's we'll say it all together, okay? It's ad melot, one word. Ad melot. It's verse 30, and it's the third word in. Actually, second if you count the hyphenated words as one word.
This is
Ad melot.
the millet on the bottom.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Okay.
Ad melot lo shana temima. Okay. Again. Ad melot lo shana temima. Okay, and so noticing that lo is a single syllable. So when we go back to the ta'amim, to chant them, sing that zarka without that, opening note.
Without the zar.
Without the zar, right. Mona ka mona sego. Got it? Okay. So then bringing that to the words, we've got ad melot lo shana temima. Very good.
The more complex melodies kind of stick in my head more.
Yeah,
Like if it's just up, down, you can get confused. But if it's actually
Yeah.
like a little more sing-song, it's a
Yeah.
little more easier.
Yeah, so some of these harder ones are easier. Yeah,
Kind of.
yeah. So let's do this again.
Okay. With the,
Ad melot lo shana temima. Very good. Okay, and then we also see this. Oh, no, we haven't done this one yet, so we'll come back to it. Look at never mind. Let's stay at chapter 25 and go to the second group here, the group without the opening munach, and verse 25 of this chapter. I don't see it. I don't see it. So I probably wrote it down wrong. I see it actually in 28. So I looked at the hay and thought it was a fet and wrote down 28.
Day.
Yeah.
Day.
Right.
Hashiv.
Right. Okay. Hashiv. So we have two words that are just one syllable. So looking at the ka, right, instead of zarka and ka, and then when we get to the lo, instead of sagol, it's just the gol part. Okay. Ka muna gol. So you see how you do that?
Yeah.
Let's do that again, and then we'll apply it to the words. Ka muna gol. Okay, and now. De hashiv lo. Good. We'll do that one more time, and then we'll move on. De hashiv lo. Great. then I had a little more trouble finding some of the others. Okay, here's group number 4. Well, let's see. Never mind. Hang on a second. Let's do group number 3. And we have to go back we have to go back a whole book. To the book of Shemot. Chapter 20, verse 17.
No, you hunted.
I did some hunting, yes. Because like I said, these are some of the less common tropes. And so,
I see how, wait,
let's see.
oh, it doesn't mention regular mayor.
That's right.
Regular mayor says 17.
2017. 2017. Okay, and so you've got the Kadma. Okay, so let's say the words together first.
Okay, chapter 20.
Right. Are you in partial Yitra?
Oh. Where does it say what chapter it is?
Well, that's what I mean. I'm looking
Oh,
for the number.
it's here, 15, 20. Was it 30? 33?
So back one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, 28. You're right. I see. Okay, so, no, that's, whoa.
Well, you're in the book of Shemot, but
Yeah,
you
which
want to
one?
be in partial Yitro, which
Okay,
is before
16.
Mishpatim,
Yeah, so okay, so this is 16.
and it's after the Shalach. There you go. There's partial Yitro. Now you're in the neighborhood.
Okay.
And verse 20 to
Chapter 20,
verse
chapter
17.
20, chapter 20, verse 17.
You're getting it. There you are.
Okay.
You're getting it. And this is the first two.
something there.
So you're there.
There you go.
You're there.
Yeah, there we go. Good. Okay. Vayomer Moshe El Ha'am Al Tira'u. Tira'u. So, Segol, like Pashta, if it's, and actually Zarka is the same way, if it is on a word that is accented on the next to last syllable instead of the last syllable, it will be doubled, and you will ignore the second one.
Okay. So the Ra, to Ra, as you were saying.
Tira'u.
With the accents on the last syllable.
No, the accent's on the next to last syllable.
Oh, yeah, it is. Okay. So, tell me again. So it's Tira'u, so
Tira'u.
ignore.
Ignore the second Segol. And there is an exception to this rule among the Ta'amim, but we haven't gotten to it yet, so it can confuse you too much. Yeah, right. Okay, so again, at the third group on your Ta'amim sheets. Okay, and they're all words that, none of them are single syllable words. Adma Munah Zarka Segol. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Vayomer Moshe El Ha'am Al Tira'u.
Wait, the accent is on the mem. It seems like.
Well, the mem is part of the The mem isn't a syllable by itself. It's the ayin mem is the syllable.
So, okay, so
So
you
you-
would go on.
No, no.
Okay.
That's okay. No, you need to be asking these questions. That's good. Okay, let's do it again. Okay. Vayomer Moshe El Ha'am Al Tira'u. Yes? Does that make sense now? Okay, let's do it again. Vayomer Moshe El Ha'am Al Tira'u. Ready to try another? Okay. Let's see. Let's do the next group because I found one of those in this chapter on verse 21. Yeah, the same chapter, chapter 20, verse 21.
For the beginning.
And it's just it's just the Munach Sarkasigal. You see it? Okay, so let's say the words together. Mizbah Adama Ta'aseli. Right. Okay. And it's
So the second one.
it is
Fourth one.
it's the fourth one, yeah.
Wait.
No,
No,
it's not the fourth one. It is
It's not there.
it's not there exactly.
We kind of got that.
Yeah. So it's the closest is going to be the first one, but it's missing its second munach. So it would be munach sarka segol.
Okay, right.
So you could also look at it as the third group without the kadma.
Right.
Okay. Munach sarka segol. Okay, and now with the words. Mizbah Adama Ta'aseli.
Let's do that again.
Yeah, okay. Mizbah Adama Ta'aseli. See, I want to go up too, but it's not. It's Ta'aseli. So that what that does when it's written that way is it emphasizes the li, mine.
Right.
You do it for me. Okay, want to try it again?
Yeah.
Mizbah Adama Ta'aseli. Good. Let's see what else did I find in this. I didn't. Now we have to go back to the book of Vayikra, chapter 3. So it's Parsha Vayikra as well as the book of Vayikra.
Which book is it?
Leviticus. Okay.
Which
And first we're going to go to chapter 3. And we're going to go back up to the third group, the one with the kadma. Because I was so sure these didn't exist, and then I started finding several of them. And it's verse 9. Chapter 3, verse 9. And it starts with the kadma at the beginning of the verse.
So it starts there at the beginning of the creed.
Right.
The creed.
Hikriv, Mizevach, Hashlamim, Ishe, Ladonai. Okay, so let's do the words again. V'hikriv mizevach hashlamim ishe ladonai. He will bring as a meal of peace offering, a fire offering to Hashem.
Okay.
I found a lot more of these amongst the korbanot.
Good. Because if for some reason, huh?
Yeah, so I found that interesting. Yeah. Okay, so again, we're doing group number 3. And it has, and one thing that I want to point out about this is it's group number 3, but it has the second munach in it.
Okay.
So you'll have to insert that. So it's more like group number 1 with a kadma.
Okay.
Okay. Kadma munach zarka munach seko. Okay, and then verse 9. V'hikriv mizeva ashlamim ishe ladonai. That sounded great. Okay, again. V'hikriv mizevach hashlamim ishe ladonai. Great, great, very good. And then if we look at chapter 4, same parsha, chapter 4, verse 31. We have a really interesting configuration of it, and we're going to end soon, so don't worry.
Because I'm at the airport at 12:30.
Oh boy, oh boy. Okay, so verse 31.
Okay.
And it is 4 words in, starts with asher, with a kadma. And what I thought was particularly interesting about this one is it has 2 second munachs. So it has the kadma and 2 second munachs. So I thought you would have fun with this one. Okay, so let's say the words. Ka'asher husar chelev. Again, there's the doubling, the doubling of the zarka. Ignore the second one. Chelev. Me'al zevach hashlamim.
Is Chalev have 2 cigarettes?
It has 2 zarkas, and you will ignore the second one.
In this book it doesn't.
Oh, it doesn't? Okay.
On top of my...
Okay, so is yours
Only on top of the vet. That's one.
only on top of the vet?
Yeah.
That's wrong.
That's right.
That's incorrect. Because chelev is a milah word. It's a word that's not, yeah.
Because the other time you said there were 2, there weren't in this book. But the other word ones.
Interesting. Well, that book is not the best for trope.
Incorrect.
That book is not the best for trope.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, but chelev absolutely is it's a milah word, so. Okay, so you'll have to make that adjustment while you're looking at it. That'll be tricky.
That's the only difference.
Okay, so what we're doing again is we're doing, okay, want to say the words again? Ka'asher, husar, chelev, me'al, zevach, hashlamim. Okay, so we've got 2 words that are accented on the first of 2 syllables, which again will mean that you'll drop the preliminary note of that tam. So you'll drop the preliminary note of the zarka for the chelev, and the preliminary mu of the munach, the third munach in the group will just be a nach. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll kind of combine groups 3 and 1 again, like we did, and add an extra munach. Okay. First, let's do the ta'amim.
Okay.
Zarka. Zarka. We'll start with, it starts with the Zarka.
Oh,
Okay. Zarka. Muna. I'm sorry.
It doesn't make sense. I don't think so.
Padma is
Okay.
what I'm singing
Okay.
Padma and saying Zarka.
Okay.
Forgive me. Okay. Padma. Muna. Ka. Muna. Na. Sigo.
Okay, that's tricky.
That's tricky. It'll be actually, this one will be easier with the words.
I kind of have a feeling.
Yeah. So let's just go right to the words. Okay. Ka'asher husar cherev me'al zevach hashlamim. So this is a good one to illustrate some of those rules.
Yeah.
See how it works?
Yeah.
Want to do it again?
Yes.
Ka'asher husar cherev me'al zevach hashlamim. Good. Okay, any others I want to make sure we do? No, I think we've pretty much covered this group. So I think that really is enough for tonight.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
So I can see what. So there's only. There's only how many? That's up to 2. Is this the end? Or I have some extra papers. Is this the end first?
Well, we have one more page.
Yeah.
And so we will attempt to finish the sheets. In the next class, we'll learn the Tlisha and Kazer.
I like this one.
Right. We
The
will not
lightning.
spend a lot of time on the rare
lightning.
tropes.
Yeah, the Harry Potter.
Yeah, right.
We just
I have never had a reading with any of the rare tropes in it. Some of them only appear 3 times, some of them only appear once in the entire Torah. So we won't spend a lot of time on the rare tropes, but we will spend some time on that final cadence, which you won't have any trouble learning because everybody knows it.
Okay.
But we'll spend a little bit of time with Tlisha and Kazer, but also the review of all the other groups will take some time.
So then it would be like, so then once you get them, you can identify them, then it's like what you're saying before.
Right,
Get
right.
practice in each one and then
Right.
put them in order.
Right. So I think another thing that we'll do next time is we'll talk about whether we should try to schedule any more classes. I don't know if enough people are going to be around over the summer to try to schedule a class.
How's it for you? I mean, you do so much.
We'll figure it out.
Okay, there's a lot of up to you and your.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably schedule one class over the summer, which would, and the thing that would be nice about that would be, it would give us a class to start really putting things together a little bit.
But how do you change, like after, let's say we learn some of this in High Holiday Trope, this is normal Shabbat
This is
trope.
regular Shabbat trope. So anybody who would like to lane for the high holidays using the high holiday trope, just like we did last year, I'm really, really happy to make a recording.
Because
We'll just
otherwise
learn
you'd
it.
have the same thing, but with different melodies.
That's right. That's right.
Are they
And I
like
have
different?
those. And
Are
I
they
have
like
those
different?
sheets. Yeah.
Are they pretty different? I mean,
Oh yes.
Oh my God.
Some of them are very similar. Gershayim is very similar. You know, a few of them are similar, but most of them are pretty different.
So how do you learn them? You just said, oh, come to the High Holiday Trope and you just had to.
Yeah, it's making the transition is tricky.
Yeah. But it's really gorgeous.
Yes. And
It's gorgeous.
I mean,
Holiday
last
Trope is
year
gorgeous.
during the high holiday season, I was laning high holiday trope. I was laning regular Shabbat trope on Shabbat Shuvah, and I was laning Haftarah.
Whoa.
So, which is
Adaptable.
another set of trope
Is
entirely.
another?
That's a completely different set of trope. And then there's another set of trope for Tehillim, which I've never learned. And there's a special trope for the book of Echa, which is like gorgeous and like a dirge. There's special trope for Esther. You know, and there's also special trope for some parts within the Torah, like the Song of Songs has some special trope. And, you know, there's a few places where there are just little bits of special trope here and there. But this is the basics for Shabbat. So this is, you know, the main thing people
This is,
need to learn.
the most common.
But what I have found for the most part is people who can lane the Shabbat trope can memorize the high holiday trope easily because you know the ta'amim. And once you know the ta'amim, it's easier to, with a sheet, you know, do some
Even if it's a
referencing.
different melody.
Yeah.
So let me see something.
The
So,
ta'amim are the same? It's just
Yeah, the
See, that's what
ta'amim
I
is the
see.
same.
so you'd
But
have
they
a
have
sheet,
different- But they have different melodies.
so you'd have a sheet and have this,
Oh.
but this side would be different.
Yes,
But they still go
exactly.
in some
Exactly, in the
orders.
same
Oh, I see.
orders, right, exactly. Because you're laning the same Torah on the high holidays. Okay, good night, everybody. I'm going to turn the live stream off now.
Hi, everybody.
Find my